You're also seeing an improvement when it comes to stabilizing human beings in our community and helping them reintegrate back into society where they're not committing additional crimes. We're not seeing as much recidivism. I certainly think it helps us impact our crime reduction rate.
I don't like this guy.
12.7% last year, 12.5 the year before that. And so far this year, 19.3%. It certainly benefits our community when we're able to take individuals and get them healthy. And then there's a lot more to it with our approach, our vocation.
I'll tell you why I don't like this guy. During COVID, he actually went and closed down the church over here in Sefton, Rodney Howard Brown's church. So I hate this guy, man. And he was closing businesses, and stuff like that. Hey, I mean, he how do you say he drank the Kool-Aid? You know, is that is that how they say he drank the Kool-Aid? Yeah, he drank the Kool-Aid. He drank the Kool-Aid and he licked the inside of the cup. Okay, so I really don't like this guy. I even saw him going around to businesses and closing them up. Okay, the barber shops, whatever was open, which is stupid. So this guy here, whenever there's an election, I think it should be like, as far as I'm concerned, anybody but Cronister. That's his name, Cronister. I don't know if he's still the sheriff here.
Trades program, GED, a lot of these programs. Again, now we're going to equip you with a skill set. We have you stabilized, we have you healthy, we get you educated, we provide you with a skill. So when you come and it's time for your debt to society to be paid and you're reintegrated back into society, you're not going to return. We're reducing the likelihood that you're going to be a productive member of society, be that husband, wife, mother, father, brother, sister that you want to be, that these individuals want to be. Now they're getting that stabilization. They're getting that helping hand that we're not seeing it return and seeing them return back to.
If you wanna keep these people from making bad choices and keep on how do you say keep on doing crime, I think it could be better if they just leave that ankle monitor on them. This way they'll always know where they are at. You know, I mean, if there's a crime, let's check out the ankle monitor and see where this guy was at. Just do it to everybody who has a bad criminal. You get caught doing something, the ankle monitor. You know, and with that ankle monitor, we know where they're at. And let's put a camera on them so we can actually see who they're hanging out with or what are they doing. You know? There you go. You wanna walk the streets, okay, but we're gonna be right behind you, like we're gonna be on you like white on rice, as they say, right? So I don't know. I think for me, because you see who you hang out with, who you hanging out. What are you doing? You know, because you're gonna need to keep busy. You need to keep busy. If not, you're gonna fall back into the same thing over and over again. I know I have a very addictive personality. I used to be addicted to using LSD. I used to be a pothead. Drinking, not so much. I really didn't like drinking too much, but all kind of other drugs. I mean, pills and stuff like that. I mean, and I don't know anybody who was more burnt out in my how do you say in my neighborhood. I guess I was the most burnt out person there. You know, I mean, very few times that somebody actually introduced something to me. Usually, I was the one doing the introducing. You know, I like LSD, pills and stuff. So that's what was going around. And but I hate this guy here. I mean, like I said, you wanna keep it, all right. Put an ankle monitor, have a camera on them. We can see what they're doing. We can see where they're at. You know, I think that's. I don't know. What do you think? Tell me in the comments, as they say. Wait up, this thing is not recording. Well, yes, it is recording.
Our detention facilities and committing additional crimes. The recidivism rate in this country is almost 60%.
Ooh.
It's not working. All these programs that I've described to you here just over the last couple of minutes, the recidivism rate fluctuates between 9 and 11%. So we know we're having the impact. But again, without the support of our county administrator and our county commission who says, hey, Sheriff, we see the vision you're trying to accomplish. And years ago, almost 5 years ago, when we started this, and we said, hey, this is what we wanted to accomplish. It was each and every one of you that supported us. Our criminal justice partners, our state attorney, and our public defender, our other criminal justice partners to help keep their municipalities safe, whether it's at the airport or regardless, Plant City, Temple Terrace, USF, Tampa Police Department, regardless of where you're at, bring members in their community who have committed a crime and aren't healthy. They're going to find themselves here. Look around and see the impact that you can have here. I remember back in 2017 coming in here and I saw the group therapy. I saw the individual therapies that they were getting. And I remember right here on the door to the right, I saw one individual that was still secured behind the door. So I'm thinking to myself, well, this must not be working very well. We have someone behind the door. So I saw one of the deputies working the pod. And I said, hey, there's someone standing back there. I mean, it's not working. And he giggled and he said, no, it's just the opposite, Sheriff. He goes, he has the mental acuity now to say, listen, I'm not quite there today. You should probably leave me in here, knowing that he was going to be violent if he got out. They said, that's progress, Sheriff. We're making progress here. I said, okay, I understand that. Lastly, I have to take a moment to thank the members of NAFCARE. They're the ones who provide the clinicians, the counselors, everything that goes into taking this holistic approach to helping these individuals. Again, some it's in group therapy. Some it's in an individualized, specialized therapy, knowing that some's PTSD, some schizophrenia. There's a million different forms.
Okay. You said that people, I guess, voluntarily stay where they're at because the guy didn't want to go out because he felt like he was going to do something. I don't know. I guess if you're really angry and stuff like that, and you feel like you go off on anything, I guess so. I guess so. I get like that if I haven't gone to church in a long time. I find myself snapping at people. I find myself, doing crazy stuff like that. Now that's why I want to see if I can get another garage. I should say get a garage and then put a motorized wheelchair in there that the VA is offering me. Put it in there, and I think it goes like 25 or 15 miles on a charge. So, and that garage, they always have an outlet there. It's not like these, it's not like these places with how do you say, these storage sheds that don't have electricity inside. But the garages, it's not bad. It's $150. 150, maybe next month we'll get it, and then I'll tell the VA to get me the wheelchair because I mean the churches here are very close. You got Arise Assembly of God not too far away. You got Crickle over here, the Reach City, and they have the one that I like is the one that I mostly go to is over here, Corson Church. Of course, Arise has a Saturday morning service, which is good because I can go down Saturday mornings, and then I can go to the men's group over at the Crossing Church at 7:30 at 7:15 or 7:30 in the morning, and that'll be good because um, over here, Uber and Lyft, they tried to charge me $50 just to go from here to the church. Usually, if it's $11 is a lot. Like on a regular Sunday, like after church service at 11 o'clock or whatever, 10:30. If it's nine to $12, it's a lot. That's how close it is. And the Spanish church is like $16, but that was before this that was before the gas went up, so maybe it might be a little bit more. Maybe it might be $20. But with the motorized wheelchair, I can get there. So we got that. And I can go to evangelize over here at the mall. But I don't think you really know that you're gonna go out there and be violent. I mean, when I cut this guy's neck when I was dealing drugs and I owed him money, he came to get his money from me, and I cut his neck. Um, I didn't go out that day thinking about, hey, I'm gonna cut somebody's neck. I went. We went to 42nd Street, or as my uncle used to say, 40 doo. And they had like three kung fu movies over there for $2. and and then we used to take like a 40, like a Coke 45 40 in there, or Old English 40. And by the time I came out of there, I felt like I was Bruce Lee. What the heck. So, and then I went back to the place where I used to deal at, and then the other dealer came, wanting to ask me for the money, and I had a bottle in my hand, a broken bottle, and I got him. But since back then I used to wear these boots that weren't too stable, so I wasn't really able to get it deep into his neck. But all I did was scratch it, because there was a lot of glass already on the floor or whatever. So, but did I go out looking for that? Did I know that? No, no, you don't know. You don't know when you're on that lifestyle. So I don't know. But it's easier to block the chain of events that lead you to be violent. See, like Teen Challenge was great. I went to Teen Challenge. I graduated from there. I went in '79 during the elections. They used to have these cars out there. Don't vote for Ronald Reagan because he's going to start a war. And so I went to Teen Challenge. I graduated from Teen Challenge in it was '79 was the election. All of '80 I was there, and January of '81 was when I graduated. We were the first graduating class of January of 1980. We were the first graduating class January, and that's a great program. These other programs, I don't know. Teen Challenge is proven. It's proven to work. They check people 5 years after they graduated from there, and they realize that it is the most successful program by far, because it's a Christ-centered program. I went to Helping Hand Center in Connecticut, which is pretty cold place over there. So uh, to I went from New York City out to Helping Hand Center in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And then from there, they sent me to God's Mountain in Riversburg, Pennsylvania, which is like half hour from Reading, Pennsylvania. That is. So you don't really know when you're gonna be
So the mental health crisis.
getting.
It's
Huh?
this organization, our medical provider, NAFCare, who goes and does these evaluations and proposes a treatment plan, is with them every step of the way, whether they're reintegrating back into the general population, back into society. And they're the ones that say, okay, you've graduated now. you're stabilized, you're able to take these next steps. They're also the ones that provide the aftercare, the reintegration back into society, that re-entry. They work with a lot of different treatment centers outside of here, whether it's substance use, whether it's mental health. They now have the partnerships. This doesn't end just because they get out. They take the time to say, okay, here's not only your prescription program and your protocol, here's where you're at, here's now a referral. A referral. You're going to report to this facility and they will take over your treatment program from here. So this doesn't happen with the support of all of you in this room. This means the world to me. This means the world to everyone in here, knowing that we're making a difference. We're having that impact. When you want to create a safer, stronger, better community, a resource like this is how you do it. Think about this. Since 2017, we've helped 1,800 individuals, and this used to be a makeshift. We were like, okay, throw a band-aid on it, do what we got to do. And because of the investment that you have made in us, providing this resource, what you see now is a 50-bed facility. In some circumstances and days, we are a bigger and larger mental health hospital than the only state mental health hospital here in the state of Florida. We are helping that many individuals as there is a waiting list trying to get to the only remaining state facility. They're getting a better quality.
I think the problem with state mental institutions and these doctors is that look at what happened to me. I went I went to see this new doctor over here at Tampa General Clinic over here on Oakfield and what is it? Oakfield and Providence here in Brandon. And the lady she asks me if I was depressed. Check this out, right? She asked me if I was depressed. So I said, well, I said, well, how am I going to be happy? You know, and I had a double stroke. Before that, I was disabled because of back issues. Okay. I haven't had any medication in a long time. I mean, these doctors at the VA, they were all like, everybody's, as they say in Spanish, echándose para atrás. You know, nobody wants to give out medications. Before I used to have another doctor, and she's been there like 30 years, more than 30 years. She's been there. She's been there now for 31 years, as far as I know. Okay, she's been my doctor at the VA, and she would prescribe me 120 oxycodone pills per month. Per month. Okay, but then you get these new guys, that, like if she's not there or whatever, they get these new guys, and they don't want to prescribe. And I told one of them to their face, I want to talk to a real doctor. And he looked at me like, what do you mean you want to talk to a real doctor? I said, yeah, because if you're telling me, if you look at my past, you know, and then uh I got beaten up 2 years ago. I got beaten up. I was in a back brace for like 4 months, you know, and and still they didn't even want to give me any kind of medication. You know, no oxycodone to take home, nothing. What the heck is up with that? You know, I don't take it a lot of. I really don't. You know, I mean, I could show you a bag there that I got like old stuff. Oxycodone 10, Oxycodone 5, hydrocodone. I got a whole mess of them there. You know, the other day I went crazy because I couldn't find them. I had really bad pain. I get these muscle spasms because I had the double stroke and my whole left side, it just is spasm city, you know? So the oxycodone, it does calm it down. Of course, it gives me nausea. So you get that trade-off. You know, you get pain relief, but it also messes up your stomach. It gives you nausea, gives you constipation, you know? So if I take that, I'm gonna have to be like taking Tums or drinking ginger ale to calm my stomach down and taking milk of magnesia. to relax everything. So anyway, I told this doctor, I said, look, I don't got no pain medicine. They're not giving me any pain medicine right now because I was switching. They opened up a VA clinic which was close to here. It was in Riverview. I live in Brandon, so that's very close. It was only like 15 minutes away. Whereas uh, the uh, the VA hospital is like at least 35 minutes away, at least. Okay, that's with no traffic. Now and I have another little clinic over here on in Sefna, no, Sable Park area. Sable Park, I guess it's kind of like Sefna. It's over there at Sable Park area. And that one there is really new. So, but you go to these doctors and they don't want to give you they don't want to give you any they don't want to give you any oxycodone. No, you got to establish yourself with the doctor. Like establish what? You're in pain. What are you talking about? You know? I mean, I have gone over there with MRIs that I have gotten like at these places, these image places, whatever. I forget, Quest Diagnostic or whatever. Tower Diagnostic, it was. Tower over here at Parsons, next to Brandon Hospital. And then so I go over there with with the MRI, and they don't care. I have compressed fracture of the T9 T10. They want to operate me, but I don't want to operate. I don't want to operate because I picked up many people who have been operated on their back on the same T9 and T10, and they've had terrible, terrible situations. Terrible. Wow, just leave me the way I am. Leave me the way I am. You know, it's not rock the boat. I'll accept it. I don't think I'm going to get any better. Okay, maybe these doctors can do a burn of my nerves, and that'll give me some relief until they grow back. You know, give me a oblation, a radio wave oblation, or a chemical ablation. But that doesn't really work all that well. At least not the one that I had. Well, I really couldn't tell. I guess it wasn't too bad. I guess I should have had more a journalistic approach. I should have been writing down a journal and see if these things are actually working or not. But whenever you mess around with different things, you're taking a risk. You know. So yeah, I told that doctor he was like young guy, man. And I told him, he said, no, I don't want to give you medication. So I told him, I said, can I get a real doctor over here? But this lady, going back to this other doctor, boss doctor lady, over Tampa General Hospital Clinic over here. They got a small one over here, and it's not that small, but anyway, she tells me if I'm depressed. I said, of course I'm depressed. I said I'm over here. At that time, I was having a lot of problems here, uh, with my living situation, and uh, and I still might get out because it would be safer for me and it would be better on the long term. But anyway, um, the how do you say I tell her, yeah, I said, I'm no right now nobody's giving me any medication. So the how do you say I go to a liquor store and I buy some liquor and I drink myself to sleep. get a big thing of Bacardi, and every night I just drank myself to sleep. That'll be the last time I ever told the truth to these doctors. She went out the room. She came back with three other doctors or whatever, and then she said that she's gonna Baker Act me. And I said, "Why are you gonna Baker Act me?" No, because you're saying that you're drinking yourself to sleep. I said, "Well, what do you want?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in pain, and nobody wants to give me any pain medication." The lidocaine patches that I got there, it only works like for a little while on back pain. It doesn't do too much for cramps, and spasms. It doesn't do much for that, if anything, you know. So they need to do something else. So this lady, man, this lady Temper General, she Baker Act me, man. And I came home. They sent the policeman over here, banging on my door, knocked on everybody's door in this apartment complex. And finally, somebody told the policeman, "Oh yeah, he's dead because his car is right there." And I was like, "What the hell?" Yeah. So anyway, he left the policeman, the police deputy, left me a message, on my phone, telling me, "Oh, when the doctor wants you to get some extra whatever, And I said, "Well, what the heck is going to happen here?" You know. So I called them back and I said, "Look," I said, I'll surrender to you, but I said, let's do it over here at the Wawa nearby. And then, you could do whatever. You got to arrest me or take me to a funny farm or whatever. We could do it." So I met him over there at the Wawa. From the Wawa, the guy was really nice. We talked. I told him about Fridays with Frank, which is about a deputy he's in Arizona. He has a YouTube channel. It's really great. Fridays with Frank, and he uh, the, he took me to this place over here. What is it? I forget what's the name. Green something. So he's like a Henry. I want to say like Henry, and I don't know what street. And 50, 60 something like that. So, but anyway, took me over there, and there was a guy in there. That dude was crazy. And he was taking everybody's blanket. Well, that person's pretty cold. So I see him taking people's blankets away. So I was hoping he don't come towards me. They took away my walker. Took away my walker, and they gave me instead of me using my walker, they gave me a wheelchair. Absolutely crazy. So here I am walking around with a wheelchair instead of walking around with my walker, which I'm used to. But anyway, it's a terrible place, terrible, terrible. There was this guy there that he was crazy. He was taking people's blanket away, and then he would wrap it on himself. So he had like 7 or 8 layers of blankets, and nobody was telling him. Finally, they interviewed me. I guess some lady, some lady with a master's degree or something like that. I don't know, bachelor's degree in mental health or whatever. And when we were talking, and I told her what happened, And then so she didn't let me go. She didn't think I was okay until I started talking about my grandkids. I said, "Why would I want to kill myself? I don't want to kill myself." I said, "I want to see my grandkids, and I still want to see my grandkids. I haven't seen my grandkids yet." you know? So anyway, I'm thinking of going over there for a New Year, for Independence Day, July 4th. It would be nice going into San Antonio on July 4th and seeing the fireworks over San Antonio. I think that would be great. You know, taking a plane just when it's starting to get dark. You see, I think that would be cool. But anyway, um, I would love to go over there, you know. And then so the lady realized that I had a lot to live for, you know. And also, I would like to get remarried. And now I'm getting at a real good age. You know, I'm gonna be 69. You know, so that's a real good age. You know, because if I get married to a very young woman, like if I go to the Philippines and get married to a young woman over there, then I can have a kid when I'm 70. You know, and if we keep on having kids, eventually we both can use diapers. You know? But anyway, after that, I waited there a couple more hours, and then I saw another interview with a guy through television, closed circuit, I guess, I don't know, whatever. So anyway, we started talking, and again, I told him, I said, I have a lot to live for. You know, I would like to study, some technical stuff, which I am, and I already passed certain certifications, and I'm looking to get more, taking classes on Coursera, which I wasn't doing it back then, but I always wanted to. I got books, on HTML, website design, JavaScript. So, um, how do you say that was my idea, and I would like to go to the Philippines or to Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, whatever, this place, what's it called? Thailand. Thailand looks very clean. The streets, they're not all cracked and stuff, so somebody can actually live there with a motorized wheelchair. Unless if I can get like $6,000 to get that stroke shot from that doctor in Boca Raton. So that's why I asked you to subscribe, to like and share, so that this way I can get that, you know. And I will be putting in the description the my my what Cash App Cash App me. Like this girl told me, she said, I wanted to take her out on a date. She said, no, you got to Cash App me first. I said, well, if I Cash App you, can I get a tracking on you? Because it's like, it's sort of like an eBay transaction. You pay for whatever you want in the auction, and then you how do you say, you have to, the person who's selling has to go to the post office or whatever, get a tracking number, and when you give that tracking number, then they release the funds. That's- so yeah, man, but yeah, the guy heard me out, and they let me go. They let me go. But then, of course, I had to get somebody to pick me up. Yeah, I should have just told them, well, I can't walk. You know, I said I can't walk all the way over there, and I don't got no taxi money or whatever. I should have just stayed there. And said, well, you keep on feeding me or whatever. Call a cab for me, get an Uber. You know, that's what I should have did. I mean, those people were like crazy over there. And one time, they had me in the front waiting to be picked up. And then the lady she tells me, well, these people are not here. So I think I'm going to send you to the back again. And I said, that doesn't surprise me at all that you do that. And she looked at me like, I said, because you people do everything backwards. You know, you people just look for trouble, and that's probably why they have to be the way they are. It's like a little prison in there. You know, it's terrible though. I mean, what are you gonna do with crazy people? I don't know, but you don't have to treat people like that. How do so if I'm depressed, I can't tell the truth. I gotta hide it. A person asks me, a doctor, do you have thoughts of committing suicide or hurting somebody? And I gotta tell them the truth. But no, I won't tell them the truth because this stupid. Oh yeah, she was sub-Saharan woman, African black woman, doctor, boss lady. You know, flexing her power, and then she was scared to see me again. I mean, she was scared to see me again. So she said that. So the guy who's in charge of the clinic, he said, well, because of the situation, what we're gonna do is we're gonna send you to another doctor. Actually, you know what I should do? Just in spite, I should just go over there and make an appointment to be seen over there and be seen by a doctor. And then when I go over there, they say at that time the doctor probably say, "Oh, so this is your first time here?" I said, "No, this is not the first time." I said, "The first time I was here, one of your colleagues, they correct me. You know, I'm probably one of them. I'm probably smarter than them. I'm probably smarter than them. Okay. When I was in college, I graduated ultra high honors. You know, and think about that. And you're talking about somebody who was. I was in a mental institution, but that was in Lincoln Hospital mental ward in the Bronx. And why was I there? Because of the LSD. So I do have papers saying that I'm crazy. Okay. At least until I started coming down, you know, weeks after that. I think they held me like 3 weeks, I think is the limit that, and then after that, they got to take you in front of a judge. But by then I think 2 or 3 weeks. And then my father came and he picked me up and took me to Puerto Rico. Then I started going to a Pentecostal church there in Puerto Rico in Bayamon. And the rest is history, man. Then my mother, she started going with me to church. We were both baptized in the big church in Bayamon, the Pentecostal church. Okay, the MAE, the International Movement, Movimiento Internacional, la Iglesia de Dios Pentecostal, MAE, Movimiento Internacional, the big church in Brandon, big old church in Brandon. That I was baptized, me, my mother, and this other lady doctor that I was interested in her. And all three of us got baptized there together. And then many years later, over here in Florida, my dad started going to church with my mother. So that's why I'm gonna try to make a AI movie of me uh, having an out of body experience after I die. My spirit leaves my body, gives like a kind of a flyby of of hell, and you can see like a lake of fire. You see demons laughing as people are getting tormented. And then I go up to then I see a map of North America. You see Florida, you see all these other places in Canada, Ontario, whatever, I don't know, Vancouver, whatever all these other places are, Montreal, Quebec, I don't know. But anyway, and then you see the cube come down because the Bible describes heaven as a cube. It's 1,500 miles A cube, a perfect cube, 1,500 miles, the the length, the width, and the height. So if you put it down in the United States, that means that it'll go from Florida out to Colorado, Denver, Colorado. That will go from Florida to there. And then if you go north, it will go into northern. I think it was northern Edmonton or something like that. Because it goes way up there. It took about 1,500 miles north from Florida. That's way past Chicago because Chicago is like 1,000 miles or whatever. So it goes deep into Canada. That's how big heaven is going to be. And of course, it's up too. It's not. I mean, we think just length and width as far as like houses, but heaven is going to be up too. So I don't know if the mansions are up or in the middle or down, or if like dormitories for those who just barely got into heaven. Right. They got into heaven by the skin of their teeth, like people say. Where you at? Oh, I'm at the dorms, man. The low rent district, the slums of heaven. The, the slums of heaven. The streets are paved with gold, but it's a little dirty over there. It's not like pure gold. It's not like the high rent district where the people they want a couple of crowns down on earth, you know. So anyway, um, I think this laptop is all charged up. Okay? It's fully charged, so I'm gonna stop this and let me say a prayer for you people. I know how it is. Mental health is a big issue. You know, and the devil is always trying to attack our mind. Our mind is the battlefield. The battlefield of the mind is the topic of Joyce Meyer's book. I mean, the devil got your mind, the rest is nothing. You gotta follow your mind. You know, how is it that? How is it? I think Morpheus in the Matrix movie. I think he said, if if your mind if your mind is dead, so is the body, or something like that. I'm gonna have to look at the Matrix. It's been a long time since I've seen it. They're showing it now on Movie Hub or whatever, but they announce it. But then when I go there, I can't find it. But let me pray for you people, and I'm gonna put down also the information eventually on my new cell phone. I should be getting it like the 7th or around there, more or less. A couple of days, more or less, on the 7th. So in a couple of days, whatever, a week from now, 8 days from now, something around. So, um, okay, so let me pray for you. Lord Jesus, I just thank you for this day, Lord, that you've given us this April 30th of 2026. And I just pray for those who are still looking at this. And I just pray, Lord, that you would be with them. Because we know that the devil throws darts to our minds, bad thoughts to our minds. He has his cronies, his demons, his fallen angels, and those ideas. Mm. Those ideas are very bad. Just like recently, that father who killed 8 children, and 7 of them was actually his, and I guess the other one was stepson. But Lord, we see so much evil in this world. We see that somebody just tried to kill the president at a correspondence dinner in the Hilton in Washington D.C., I believe. And there's a lot of crazy people out there. You know, so I just want to say that, Lord, I just pray that you would be with these people, give them wisdom so that they can know how to talk to these mental health professionals. If they need to get if they need to get help, they can reach out to church pastors and Christian church, evangelical churches, that they won't get abused like I was in the Catholic Church. And we pray all this in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. And amen. Adios, amigo. Adios, amigo.